And we're back, guys. I'm your host, Good Energy. Welcome to Tennis in a Minute. We're going to take a look at Dubai, the round of 32 and the round of 16. Elena Rybakina, Iga Swiatek, Coco Gauff, all on the topic of discussion. As always, this video is brought to you via the Doctrine of Fair Use, the Fair Dealing, and the Digital Millennium Act. Elena Rybakina, you guys, listen. Very tough match here today against Karolina Muchova. The first set would go to a tiebreak where Muchova would prevail 8-6. The second set also really close up until around the ninth service game. Listen, guys, this match came down to one break, right? Muchova had 13 opportunities to break Emma, converted on only 3. Emma had 6 opportunities to break Muchova, converted on 2 of them. Despite all the issues off court with injuries, coaching changes, I feel that Emma looks really good. She looks solid. She's in great form. And despite losing this match, she has to feel confident with her play. This match came down to one break. I think Emma's conditioning looks good. I think her backhand looks good. And this is what we want to see. She's such a classy, elegant type of player off court. She's just sweet. How can you not like Elena Rybakina? And I really need to see her crack this top 50 again. I want to see her back inside the top 20, the top 10, where she belongs. I feel the 2 stars that can propel the WTA forward into this next generation of stars, get this sport back on main television, the NBC networks, the ABCs, the Foxes, in particular the CBSs, Coco and Elena Rybakina. Those are the 2 ladies that I feel can get this sport into the next stratosphere. Emma loses, but she played well. Muchova, she advances. We're going to talk about her next matchup shortly, but let's take a look at Veronika Kudame. She took on Aryna Sabalenka. This was a tough match. Now, Veronika has dropped down to rank 50th on the World Tour. We need her back inside the top 20. But I feel just lately, the last year and a half, she's been playing through a lot of injuries, a lot of off-court issues she's not really talking about, but she looks stressed. She's going through the motions. But it's good to see her younger sister climbing the rankings. Now, the first set, still pretty close. She lost at 6-3. The second set, 6-4. I felt she played Sabalenka really tough, right? She won 60% of her first serves, 29% of Sabalenka's first serves, 58% of her second serves. Listen, guys, she had 8 opportunities to break Sabalenka. She only converted on 2, but anytime you pressure Sabalenka into 8 opportunities, pressure point situations to break her, you're doing a good job. Sabalenka's a tough match for anyone. She prevails. We're going to take a look at her next matchup as well. Svitolina, guys, boy, did she blow this match. Now, she lost the first set in a tiebreak after being up early. She would come back and win the second set. And, I mean, look, Clara Tauson, we all know she's going to take sets off. It is what it is. When we talk about divas on tour, Clara Tauson is a diva. I don't care what you say, guys. She's a diva. She's going to play when she feels like it. She's like a Amanda Anisimova. She's a Potapova. She's going to do what she wants to do. She lost the second set 6-3. The third set was just a roller coaster, right? We saw Svitolina down early. She would come back, force a tiebreak, and the hard-hitting Clara Tauson would prevail. How does she do it, guys? How about 9 aces? 69% of her first serves won. 51% of Svitolina's second serves. Listen, guys, Svitolina had 20 opportunities to break Tauson. This is the type of match she's got to be disappointed. You have 20 opportunities to break someone, and you lose this match. Unbelievable, guys. Clara Tauson, she's going to take on Sabalenka next. We're going to talk about that matchup shortly. This was Svitolina after winning the second set. Tauson took a very long break, but look, it didn't work out. Let's start things off. We're going to take a look at some of the matchups for the round of 16. I do want to talk Coco. That's coming up next, but so far this tournament, 23 predictions, 16 of them have won. Of course, that's free, guys. It's entertainment as well, so don't take any of this too personal. Now, let's take a look at Kessler and Muchova. I am going to be watching this match with a magnifying glass because I want to see how Kessler does against Muchova. Let's talk Kessler. Now, up until the recent win over Coco today, Her biggest win on tour, I would say, Beatrice Haddad, right? She also won the Hobart International, where she took out Elisa Mertens. That's a huge win, but Beatrice Haddad, by far, the biggest win on her resume before beating Coco today. Kessler McCartney, everything I said about her is true. She's one of my top 10 Americans. She went to college at the University of Florida, 7-time, SEC player. She's an amazing talent. She's a good defensive player. She gets balls back. And like I said, she doesn't really make a lot of mistakes. She's very consistent. She's very patient, right? She's a good ball striker. She's young. She's athletic. And even though she's around the same age as Sofia Kenin, she reminds me of a younger version of Kenin, right? That Sofia Kenin from 2021, 4 or 5 years ago, when Kenin was just in shape and just beating players off of her will, her mental toughness. That's what McCartney Kessler reminds me of, right? So taking on someone like Muchova, this is going to be a big challenge for her. She's 10-4 on the year. She's played a lot of tennis. I mean, the last 2 years alone, she's played, aside from this season, the 23 and 24 season, she's played over 100 matches. She's playing a lot of tennis. She's finding her way on the main tour. We saw her win Cleveland. We saw her win the Hobart International. And again, the biggest win on her resume before beating Coco today, without a doubt, would have been Beatrice Haddad, right? So she's showing that she belongs on tour. She can play with the best of them. And I mean, in particular, she took out Potapova in the semifinal. That was a good win in Cleveland before going 3 sets also with Beatrice Haddad and winning that. Now, outside of that championship in Cleveland and the Hobart International, she hasn't really done much. She hasn't gone deep in draws. I mean, she did make the quarterfinal in Hong Kong, where I told you that Isla would beat her. Isla beat her pretty bad, right? And I feel those are the type of players that will cause Kessler problems. The tall, very powerful players that love to just stretch the court with their backhands, which you kind of think of Coco, right? Coco comes to mind there, but I'm going to talk about why I felt Coco lost that match. Muchova's very versatile, guys. She loves to mix it up, and I feel she's going to be a nightmare for McCartney Kessler because she's not going to allow McCartney Kessler to find a rhythm. I felt Coco was too relaxed today, just letting McCartney just set up what she wanted to do. Where Muchova is going to bring you forward, she's going to bring you midcourt, behind the baseline, she's going to come cross court, drop shots. Players like Muchova prevent you from finding a rhythm, whereas McCartney Kessler needs to drag out that extra shot. She needs to get that extra ball back so she can construct the point and either have you make a mistake or find an opportunity, an opening to step up and hit a winner. Muchova's not going to allow that. I like Muchova to defeat McCartney Kessler. Paula Badosa and Elena Rybakina. This is going to be a good match, guys. A lot of people are picking Paula Badosa to win this match. And look, I can see why. Elena has struggled, right? But here's the thing. Out of her last, what did I say? Her last 23 matches, she's lost 9. That's a little bit scary because at one point, Elena Rybakina was regarded as one of, any given day, the best 3 players on the tour. I don't know if she's in that top 3 right now, but Badosa owns this head-to-head, and a lot of people also feel that's the reason she's going to win this match. But I got to point out to you guys, even though she owns a head-to-head 4-3, Rybakina's won the last 2 meetings. And in fact, I think Rybakina is going to come through with the win here. I think Rybakina, she spent less time on the court. As long as her serve shows up, I'm going to take Rybakina to win this match. I'm pretty confident Rybakina should beat Paula Badosa. That's the pick. Iga, big bad Iga, taking on Diana Yastremska. A lot of you guys don't know, but there's not many ladies on tour that own the head-to-head against Iga Swiatek. And Diana Yastremka is one of those ladies. Now, yeah, it was a while ago. I want to say right when Diana came up from juniors after losing the Wimbledon final to Potapova. I think they played a while back. And sure enough, Diana won that match. Straight set win. Yeah, it was around 2019 where Diana was voted newcomer of the year. She was just looking so good, playing some big matches against Camilla Giorgi, Venus Williams. She was winning titles. I think she won 2 to 3 titles that year as well. Listen, guys, I think Iga's going to win this match, but I do think Diana's going to keep it competitive. This is a type of style that can frustrate Iga. The new Iga, someone that's got power, that's got range, and not afraid to let that hammer go. It's going to be a tough match, but I think Iga will prevail. Jasmine Paolini, big game Sofia Kenin. It's going to be a good match. Listen, guys, Kenin is lucky to be here. I think she really almost blew it against Marta. Marta had several match points. Kenin was exhausted. And she's dominated Jasmine Paolini. Right, they haven't played in a while, but this is a tough matchup, to be honest with you, because the longer the rally goes, I think Kenin's going to be the one putting Jasmine on the back foot. The longer the rally goes, Kenin's going to have the upper hand, without a doubt. Shorter the rally, fast, explosive, much like Marta Kostyuk, she's going to put a lot of pressure on Kenin, and Kenin's lucky to be here, I'm telling you guys. I watched that match from start to finish. Kenin was up early in the second set. Every time Kenin had an opening, Marta just came back, took control of the rally. I've felt some service games, especially when we're talking about return games, when Kenin would get down 15-30 love, she wouldn't even try. I felt she was conserving energy. You saw her leaning up against the wall a lot. She's been doing that a lot lately. That's become her thing. If Jasmine plays fast and explosive, she should beat Sofia Kenin. I like Jasmine to come out and win the first set. I think she's going to play a little bit too fast again. And Kenin's going to have to make adjustments if she's going to stay in this match. Big game Jessie P, Linda Noskova. It's going to be a tough match here, guys. I think Linda Noskova's coming here with house money to take out Pegula. I really do. I think she's got a chance to do so. Linda Noskova, very good win against Diana Snyder. We saw Snyder upset Pegula as well. She's here after also taking out Putintseva. Pegula over Ludmila is a very good matchup, though. But Pegula's got to handle business here. Linda's got some fast, low balls. I feel if she plays fast, she'll have the opportunity to put Pegula on the back foot, without a doubt, if she plays fast. But I'm going to take Pegula. I think Pegula will probably start slow in this match. I wouldn't be surprised if Pegula is down a set. I wouldn't be surprised if Pegula loses the first set. But I'm going to take Pegula to win this match. I think she'll have to dig deep. It's going to be a tough match, but I think Pegula's got enough to get past Linda Noskova. Arena Sabalenka hits hard. She scares me, ladies and gentlemen. Taking on the hard-hitting Clara Tauson. The last time these two ladies played, Clara Tauson had a chance to win the first set, and she blew it. Listen, after a long, grueling match with Svitolina, I don't see how she's going to have the stamina. I don't think she's going to have the mental toughness to now come back and beat Sabalenka. So I'll take Sabalenka to win this match. And we're going to talk Coco. Listen, guys, a lot of comments. Of course, Coco's the most popular player on this channel. She's the most popular female tennis athlete. She's the most popular female athlete in the world. But there's a couple things that you guys need to know, especially when it comes to tennis or any sports in that matter. When you have your form and you find your form, you don't want to lose that form. And I just feel that coming from Saudi Arabia, playing so well at the United Cup, starting the season, winning 11 matches in a row, 9 on the calendar year in a row, after losing to Paula Badosa, I just felt it was a bad game plan, right? Bad strategy. Bad game plan against Paula Badosa. I wouldn't look any further into that. Just a bad game plan. Okay, what do we do next? Do we find a way to get into the Upper Linz, Abu Dhabi, Or are we going to wait nearly 4 weeks, nearly a month to come back and play Doha? That decision I don't like. And this is why I'm going to get into this. And this is why you can lose to Marta Kasiuk and now have your form. And this is why someone like McCartney Kessler can upset you. When you find your form, it is so tough to keep your form. Factor in all the external things that Coco has going on. She's a businesswoman. She just donated like $30 million or some crazy number like that to the ladies 3-on-3 league. That involves a lot of attorneys, a lot of contracts, a lot of business outside of tennis that she has to attend to. She has other things going on. That's just not the only business venture she has. She's a businesswoman, okay? When you're making this kind of money, when she's not on the court, she's got a lot going on. Yes, she has agents and managers and things like that, but she tells them what to do, okay? There's attorneys. There's a lot going on in her life. You have to make time to practice. You have to make time to play. There's traveling. There's other types of commitments. So I'm a little disappointed that when she had that form, okay, to take that long of a layoff off, that doesn't make sense to me. And look, okay, I'll take that back. It makes sense to me. I can see how it can happen. But if I'm advising Coco, I'm letting her know, look, let's not lose this form. Why? Because we have a lot of points to defend on the back end of the year. And from a business standpoint, we want to have a very good start to this year. Historically, Coco hasn't done well after the Australian Open. This part of the tour, she hasn't really done well. And I mean, she hasn't made any of these finals. So the reality here is I'm saying to Coco, look, we got to get into one of these 500s. We have to play one of these 500s. We know the scheduling commitments. Let's just get some of these out the way. So later on in the season, you know, we all know grass is very tough. That's a tough challenge. But once we get to late third, fourth quarter, there's not many 500s, and you don't want to be playing 500 tournaments going into the fourth quarter of the season. You don't. That's when you're banged up. You've played a long year. Your form is going to be there late in the year. You can afford to take a 500 off. I don't like the decision to take 3 to 4 weeks off. It doesn't make sense to me. Again, I'll take that back again. I can see how it makes sense because you have Doha, you have Dubai, you have the Indian Wells, the Sunshine Double. I understand you have 4 1000s coming up. I understand that. But there's no threat to Coco getting injured. She's healthy. She's young. She's in shape. She's strong. She has the stamina. Excuse me, guys. Let me grab a drink of water. She has the stamina to be able to handle this early on in the season, right? So I can see how, you could pass up on the option, but I don't think it's a good decision because out of all the top 3 players, Sabalenka, Iga Swiatek, we all know that Coco had the best form this year, early on this year. You don't want to lose that form. If you guys ever competed on a high level, if you ever played sport athletics, you know mentally when you're in your form. You know when you're firing on all cylinders. You know when you're clicking. And there's something about that feeling that's like it's like swag. It's like you got your mojo. There's something about that feeling that's like, oh yes, I'm here. I'm feeling it. I'm in my zone, right? That's what it is. You're in your zone and you don't want to lose that. I don't agree with the idea of you don't have to do what the other players are doing. The Igas, the Sabalenkas, taking these breaks. You don't have to do that. And yes, I know some of these smaller tournaments, they're tough to play. There's security issues. And look, Coco let's say if Coco plays the average, we all know the WTA allows, like one top tier player to play a 250. Let's say Coco plays a 250. All right, outside of Auckland, right, where she was the previous defending two-time champion. Let's say she plays at 250. It's going to be tough to keep up with Coco, that big of a star at a 250, right? As she practices, the lines are going to wrap around the freaking building outside the parking lot ×2. We all know the personnel just to keep her from being mobbed. It's going to be tough. And I understand these types of decisions. They're personnel decisions where you might want to keep her out of a 500 because you all know she's not going to be able to practice, without being mobbed by fans. She's not going to be able to have a match without being mobbed by fans. But listen, that comes with the territory. You can't lose that form. I'm telling you guys, and you guys that are athletes, you know what I'm talking about. When you have that form, nothing can go wrong. You're in shape, you're in your zone, and your lungs are just so expanded. It's like having hawk lungs, eagle lungs. You can breathe, you can run 25, 26 miles without a problem. It just feels so good. It's like after a match, after a game, you're not fatigued. You go back to eating right and everything just feels good. Nothing's going wrong. And it's rare to have that form. But here's the problem, guys. And you guys know I eat healthy. You guys know I'm a vegan and all that stuff like that. You guys know about the Clean 15. Some of you guys don't, okay? There's a lot of fruits and vegetables that you have to buy organic, right? And of course, I'm not going to get into the whole organic thing, but we're going to talk about just the basics here, right? There's some fruits and vegetables you have to buy organic. We all know Coco, between changeovers, she eats healthy, right? She takes good care of her body. But there's some fruits and vegetables that you don't have to buy organic. And a lot of those we're going to refer to as the Clean 15, right? You guys know what the Clean 15 is. If you don't, I don't have time to explain it to you. Just work on taking better care of yourself, taking care of your body, etc. So in simple, the Clean 15, these are, for the most part, fruits and vegetables that they're in season. They are being grown with, great soil, lots of nutrients, and they're fruits and vegetables that you don't necessarily have to buy organically, because a lot of times these are going to be fruits and vegetables that they're grown in great conditions. They're not going to contain all the pesticides. You don't have the insects or rodents trying to, damage them or, cross-contaminate them. But for the most part, a lot of them as well, they're going to have shells on them that protect them from the elements, pesticides, etc. And you can buy them, for the most part, non-organically, right? And they're going to be healthy. They're going to be good to eat. They're going to be good. They're going to taste good. They're going to be good for you. But if you're not familiar with the Clean 15, then you're going to be in trouble, ladies and gentlemen, right? Because a lot of times you may be buying fruits and produce that are not organic. And a lot of times they contain a lot of pesticides. And if you're not washing them off, if you're not taking care of your body, then you're not going to be aware that you're not getting the nutrient value of these fruits and vegetables, right? So in simple, it's about awareness is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about awareness. And I know that was a long rant there. I don't want to get off topic, but it's about awareness. And when you are in shape, there's an awareness that this doesn't happen all throughout the year. The tour is on a different city. It's in a different continent, a different country, every other week, every week. You guys know what I'm talking about. You're hopping on planes, you're getting off planes, you're in hotels. And just because you're a big star doesn't mean you're getting 5-star hotels all the time. Sometimes you're in 2-3-star hotels. It just is what it is. Sometimes that's all that's available in some of these tournaments, right? That's also a reason why sometimes these ladies, they only want to play the big tournaments. And look, that aside, sometimes you don't have the resources you need to be the best while you're traveling. Iga Swiatek said it best. I will not be in shape all throughout the year. In fact, I try to be in my best form at least 5 times throughout the year. So Iga Swiatek, who's had, the most wins and most championships, the last few seasons on tour has acknowledged that she's not in her best form all throughout the season. She acknowledged that because of the elements, the travel, the schedule, and all the things that come with it. So my opinion is when you are in form and you know you're in form and you know you're in your best shape and you know you're playing well, you have to take advantage of it. This is why I'm disappointed to see such a long layoff. I know what's going to happen, guys. If I see a match where I know Coco's going to lose because the numerology is bad, I'm not necessarily going to tell you guys. This is a big Coco channel. I don't want to get you guys sad or disappointed. I used to want to predict everything and let everyone know, like, look, I know what's going to happen. But now I don't necessarily want everyone to know what's going to happen. I don't want you to know that Coco's going to lose. I don't want to disappoint people. I want you to tune in. I want you to listen to the suspense. And the reality here is I wasn't happy with the decision to sit Coco. And yes, Coco's the boss. I understand at this point of her career, she's probably telling her dad and her parents what she wants to do. She's an adult, right? She's the star. She's the athlete. So she controls everything. She's the one that gets the game checks, the endorsement. She's the boss. So I understand a lot of this is her decision making, but I also think it's also important to have good advisors around you and just give advice. If I were advising Coco, I would say, look, you're in good form right now. You don't want to lose this. You don't want to lose this. You don't, go into a 500, win a 500, right? Let the fans see you. Let them get up and close and personal. Let some of these fans at the upper lens see you. You won the upper lens before. Let them see you again. Why not come back? So I just felt that was a horrible decision. And now this is what we're faced with. When you lose your form, this is how you regain your form. Normally by losses, by bad losses, right? Because when you lose, you guys know the old saying, when you win, sometimes you lose. When you lose, sometimes you really win. You're going to learn more from losing matches. I've learned a lot more about myself from losing matches than winning matches. You're going to learn more about losing matches, and that's going to help you regain your form. But you got to lose, and you need bad losses like this to Kessler. What does this motivate? It motivates you to just come back. Again, you're consciously thinking, okay, I did this when I lost. I don't want to do that again. And you're just trying to improve on the loss. But again, you go back to the gym, you work hard, and practice is not game speed. And this is why when you have your form, you want to continue with your form. You do not want to sit, because when you lose it, it's going to take matches. And then you have these lower seeds coming into these 1000s with buys. And I say it all the time. This is how upsets happen. You have lower ranked seeds. They come into these tournaments. They're warmed up to the course. And for one, if you're a higher ranked seed, higher ranked player, and you come into these master events and you make it to the next round, you're going to be playing someone that's lower ranked, someone that's better than you, technically, right? Essentially. But to be there, you've had to beat someone that's ranked lower than you, someone that's better than you in the first place. So you're playing with house money. You have your confidence. You're used to the courts, and you've already beat someone that's really good. This is how these upsets happen. And when you're someone like Kessler, you're playing with house money. You have nothing to lose, guys. There's no pressure. Then you factor in the elements of the day. There's rain. It literally rains like 3 weeks a year in Dubai. 3 weeks a year, guys. It was raining off and on all day. They only get 1 inch of rain a year. They had more rain today than all year. So you have all these wacky events that are going on. The match that was supposed to be played on center court is now played on a side court, where instead of having 10 to 15,000 fans screaming Coco, now you have 20 fans there. This is how upsets happen, guys. And if you guys have ever played, I talked about this earlier, guys, you always play, especially when you're a superstar, you always play harder or stronger or your best when there's 10,000 fans screaming your name. That's energy. Sports is about energy. This is why the hometown crowd, the home court advantage is always big in sports, because it's about energy. right? With that crowd screaming your name, you play harder. Your testosterone, your adrenaline starts to flow a little more. You give harder effort. Not that you're not outside of that, but it makes you play better. You always play better on the bigger court. And then you're being put on a side court. McCartney already has nothing to lose. Guys, all of these things factor in bad play. If you look at this match, McCartney, she played how she normally plays. Her numbers weren't amazing. This is how she plays. But again, I don't want to take anything away from McCartney Kessler. We don't do that here. She's an amazing player. She's on my top 10 American list. I think she's good. I like her game. I really like her. She's a good player. But her numbers today were about average. That's what she does. Coco's numbers were not average. Coco played below average, and this is what happens when you don't have your rhythm. You need matches to find your rhythm, and this is the problem with tennis, right? There's no time clock. There's a serve clock, but it's not like football or basketball where you have a set number of minutes that need to tick down before the match is over. With tennis, if you're not in form and your other player that you're playing against has their form, they're in rhythm, they're playing fast, guys, you could be down 4-2, 4-3, and the next thing you know it, second set is here. This match is over, right? All you got to do is get the break and hold. The match is over. And this is what happens when you're playing someone that's in form and used to the courts. So, again, the main thing that I want to see now, Coco's going to she's going to get ready. She's going to practice. She's same situation at the Indian Wells where she's going to be playing someone that's possibly come through qualifiers, had an upset in the first round. She's on a bye. What would I do? And again, it's tough practice. You can't emulate gameplay in practice. It's practice is practice, right? When these players are practicing, they have hitting partners, and it's not a full game. Sometimes they'll bring in a superstar. For example, Vika and Potapova, they practice a lot. But it's not. They're not playing full speed. They're probably playing 65 to 70%. When you're playing someone that's upset someone in the previous round, they're used to the courts. They're not playing 100%. When they're playing the biggest stars on the tour like Coco, they're playing 150, 200%. So if you come out lackadaisical, a little sluggish, you don't have your form, you're going to lose this match. Paula Badosa said it best. It doesn't matter the ranking of a player on tour. You guys focus too much on rankings. Any of these players, 80, 50, 60, 70, top 10, top 20, any of them can get hot and beat anyone any given time. Ranking doesn't matter. We put too much focus on ranking. It's not about ranking, guys. Tennis is so fast of a sport. You get broken. The other players got to hold. That set is over. The match is over. It's as easy as that. So she's going to have to, if I were advising Coco, and look, it's possible she does that, but from watching what I've seen, I don't think so. Full speed matches, and this is another issue, and this is why when you're in form, you have to keep your form. It's tough finding gyms and places to practice when you're in different cities. You have the cities that you're comfortable in, you're familiar with, you can arrange this kind of stuff, but for the most part, it's still tough because you still have 100 other players in the draw looking for facilities. You're sharing facilities, you're sharing courts. It's very tough to bring in a hitting partner or someone and have a full game. I would recommend playing like a full game. Get some volunteers, get some people on staff, have someone act as though they're the umpire, call the match, get some ball kids, have a full game. It's very tough to do. I understand that. But if you're trying to find your form, a lot of times these lower ranked players, these top tier star athletes, they're relying on just their overall skill and experience on tour to get them through playing the higher ranked opponents after having a bye. And a lot of times it's just not going to work that way because that higher ranked opponent, it's used to the court. They're warmed up to the court. They've already upset someone that's really good in the previous round. And I'm telling you, this is the theme of this video. When you have your form, you do not want to lose your form because it's so tough being in these different cities every week. You don't have the facilities. You don't have the courts. You don't have the volunteers or the staff. You got one hitting partner, but It's different from a game. It really is. In a game, you have someone that's coming out with a specific strategy. They're playing to their strengths. They're playing to beat you. They're doing things to beat you. Whereas a hitting partner can try and emulate that kind of stuff, but a lot of times it doesn't work. And this is why I'm going to put an emphasis on this. When you have your form, do not lose your form. Yeah, I can understand you're in form, you go deep in the tournament and you lose. Okay, that's fine. And then you're switching from maybe hard court to clay or clay to grass. Grass is the shorter season of them all. Grass to hard court. You know, you had a lot of players that didn't want to go back, from grass to clay and hard. So players like Madison Keys didn't go to the Olympics last year. I can understand situations like that, right? But when you're in form, you got to keep your form. Theme of the video, guys. McCartney Kessler defeats Coco. Again, if you look at the numbers, McCartney did what she does. Those are the numbers she puts up. But the 44 unforced errors from Coco, tough day at the office, ladies and gentlemen. Tennis in a minute. Like the video, show some love. We'll be right back. Enjoy the free predictions. We have a lot more matches to discuss tomorrow. Alicia Parks, Sorana Cirstea. Now, they were supposed to play today. That did not happen. Again, Alicia Parks is so big. They just pushed that off until tomorrow because Alicia Parks was supposed to play ahead of matches like Svitolina, ahead of matches like Muchova and Raducanu. That's how big time Alicia Parks is. So we're going to cover that tomorrow. McCartney Kessler, good job. You deserve the win. Coco Gauff, she'll be back. We know she'll be back. I'm just upset they let her sit for so long. You don't have to do what Iga or Sabalenka does. Go play. You're playing the best. The consensus was on tour. All the expert professionals, Coco's playing the best. 9-0 to start the year. Hate to give that form away. It's going to be tough to find it, guys. Remember, she's got new coaches. She got new game plans she's working on, new grips. You don't want to give that rhythm up, guys. We'll be back.